Welcome back. 5 weeks of unprotected strike action has left Tshwane residents at their wits' end. The mayor of Tshwane, Silias Brink, said this week that waste collection has been severely affected by illegally striking workers affiliated to the South African Municipal Workers Union, or SAMWU, whom he says shut down municipal landfill sites and have been intimidating, even attacking contracted providers. Meanwhile, the EFF has threatened to lead a protest in support of many workers who have been dismissed as a result of the strike action. More than 100 workers affiliated to SAMWU have reportedly lost their jobs after the protest continued after the city obtained an interim interdict. Well, the workers have been demonstrating over the city's refusal to implement a 5.4% increase. To discuss, we're joined by SAMWU's Gauteng Secretary Mpho Tlhadinyane. We're also joined by the Chief of Staff in the Office of the Mayor, Jordan Griffiths. Let me start with you, Mr. Tlhadinyane. What is the state of play? SAMWU has reportedly called off the strike. The mayor says there are still go-slows and ongoing acts of violence and intimidation. Is that true, and where do you stand?
No, thanks for having us. As far as we know, SAMWU members are not on strike. They are in their various depots. What has actually happened is that the city has withdrawn a number of services. For example, they have withdrawn Tshwane bus services, and as a result, commuters cannot be ferried from their various townships and locations to their workplaces. We have seen also municipal trucks and municipal cars being withdrawn by the city, and as a result, artisans and other staff members who are supposed to be ferried from their various depots to sites cannot go there.
Can I just clarify, Mr. Tlhadinyane, why is the city withdrawing transport services? So you're saying that's not as a result of any striking members. It's the city withdrawing transport services to get workers to their jobs. Why is the city doing that?
No. Mr. Griffiths is here. He will better explain why they are locking out employees. Just to also indicate, you see, if you can go to Centurion, they had cordoned off the municipal building there, and employees were expected to sign their attendance registers outside municipal building in their supervisor's car. So where resources have been provided to employees, services has been rendered by those particular employees. So it is up to the city to ensure that indeed services are being delivered to various residents within the length and breadth of the city of Tshwane.
Okay, let's get a response. Mr. Griffiths, is the city locking workers out?
No, most certainly not, Francis. Good afternoon to you and to your viewers. Just to respond to a few things very quickly, bus services are indeed suspended in the city. One of the reasons was because when the strike started, some of the buses that were driving in the city were stoned. So we had to protect that infrastructure, and we had to withdraw that service. We have also historically seen in the past that striking workers have used the buses to actually block roads as well. And so the buses then become instruments to enable striking workers. Mr. Tlhadinyane, in his opening remarks, said that as far as he is concerned, there are no SAMWU members that are striking, which is comedic and false. SAMWU, as leadership, have requested that their workers return to work, in fact. But that has not happened. And what is very clear is that the SAMWU leadership, both in the city and in the province, have absolutely no control over the movement that they have unleashed. Shop stewards that are no longer listening to their leadership, that are acting unilaterally outside of what the union has directed, that much is clear. And so when you are speaking to Mr. Tlhadinyane, while he is effectively the provincial leadership of the provincial leader for SAMWU, he has very little to no control over what is in fact happening in the city, which is why parts of the city have returned to normal operations while others have not.
Okay, and I will put that to him, Mr. Griffiths, but can you clarify, if the buses are still suspended, is it fair then to dismiss workers? Is that taking place? What if they simply cannot get to work? It does raise that issue.
So no, that is most certainly not an issue in terms of how the dismissals are occurring. Dismissals are occurring because workers are actively striking. They're not even remotely trying to attend to work, come to their attendance registers and sign. They've been witnessed embarking on the illegal strike as well. So the withdrawal of bus services has not in any way worked to, I suppose, support the illegal strike action, if that makes sense.
All right.
What's clear to us is that the buses are often targeted historically or used as tools to enable the strike. But the dismissals have all been done lawfully, and if they need to be challenged, they will be. But that process has been very clear from the start.
Mr. Tlhadinyane, your response to that claim that as SAMWU's leadership, you've lost complete control?
No, Francis. Remember that the city went to the Labour Court and they secured an interim interdict, and they went back to the Labour Court to say that SAMWU members were in violation of the interim order which was issued by the Labour Court. But we also want to place it on record that the Labour Court then said that the city could not even prove that SAMWU members were not in compliance with or were in contempt of the court order. They lost their matter in court. After a number of days, they even went back to court again. They also lost the matter. So we can confirm that indeed court has vindicated us that indeed SAMWU members are not in contempt of the court order which was secured on the 28th of July, 2023.
So why is the rubbish piling up?
Yes, because the city is not releasing the resources in terms of your municipal trucks to go and collect that particular waste. So workers are reporting to their various depots, but they are not given keys to drive those particular municipal trucks. We have said sometime last week to the city that we are prepared as the union leadership to go together with them and ensure that indeed normality is restored. But they hesitating to go with us and ensure that indeed those particular workers are being given keys to those particular municipal trucks so that they can go and waste. So we prepared. I'm prepared to go with Mr. Jordan to let's go to Pretoria Waste, collect those particular trucks and ensure that indeed service is being delivered. But if they hesitate, there's nothing that some can do.
All right. We're running out of time, so can I pose a quick question to both of you? Mr. Tlhadinyane, first, are you going to defend the workers who apparently have been seen, according to the city, in acts of sabotage or in acts of illegally striking? Will you defend them?
Yes, we can confirm that indeed almost 100 or so employees have been dismissed. But it is not only SAMWU members who have been dismissed. Out of the 100, there are those that belong to the other trade union. Like today, the city has recalled salaries. Of the 450 salaries which were recalled, half of those salaries which were recalled or salaries which were not paid to employees, those employees are not belonging to SAMWU. So the city must then come to its senses and stop saying that SAMWU is on strike and all those things, because even whatever that is happening on the ground, it shows that our members are at work, and the other union whose salaries were also recalled, they are not saying anything about that particular trade union.
All right, Mr. Griffiths, and is the city firm that those workers will be dismissed? There is apparently a history of no wage hikes. People are suffering economically, and it does sound complicated in terms of getting back to work.
Thanks, Francis. So you did ask Mr. Tlhadinyane if he has control over his members. You'll notice he didn't answer your question. He ducked and dived. But I'll answer it again. He doesn't. He has no control over his SAMWU members in Tshwane. They have gone rogue. His shop stewards have gone rogue. The city is very firm in the dismissal process that it has followed. Mr. Tlhadinyane is also correct. The city also began docking pay and freezing salaries of employees, particularly because these employees could not demonstrate that they did any work during this last period. And we're taking a very aggressive approach towards demonstrating that there can be consequences for illegally striking. This is an unprotected illegal strike. It has been confirmed by the Labour Court. Mr. Tlhadiani is correct. The city then approached the court again to get a contempt of court order, because that would be against the union leadership, who could then face criminal charges. And the court sent us back and said, no, we need more evidence. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be gathering more evidence to demonstrate that they are in contempt of court. But it's critically important to emphasize that SAMWU leadership, SAMWU issued out correspondence to their members saying that they must return to work as of this Monday. The regional chairperson did so. Their members haven't done that. In fact, we had more incidents of violence this week, people being forced out of offices, a waste truck was stoned, and none of those have been condemned. A SAMWU shop steward was shot violently 2 weeks ago. SAMWU has not issued any response on that either, because it doesn't suit their narrative to support an individual or a member of theirs that was hurt by other employees because they were working. So, I mean, we must be clear about this. SAMWU has lost total control over the situation, and the people who are suffering are the residents of the city of Tshwane.
All right, we've run out of time. Thank you. That's from both sides, but of course in the middle of both of you are the residents with rubbish piling up. I even wanted to talk about the health risk, but unfortunately I apologize, we've run out of time. Jordan Griffiths, Chief of Staff in the Office of the Mayor, and Mpho Tlhadiani, SAMWU's Gauteng Secretary, and we'll continue to follow that fallout.